All right, it is indeed a First Alert Weather Day. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Nibbler here live in the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look out there right now because it is, as you know, very hot and well, we'll go ahead and we'll give you a look at some of those cameras here in just a little bit, but a lot of heat going on, a lot of smoke in the air, a lot of things happening when it comes to wildfires. So things to be aware of. There is a live look from our river camera, from our Telecom Bridge camera, looking at downtown Portland right now, or looking back over there to South Portland rather. But look at all that haze in the air. We're going to talk about some of the different things that you should know and be aware of when it comes to health concerns with this heat and all of these things happening. To do so, we're bringing in an expert right now. We've got Dr. Toledo joining us, and it's so great to have you here on the show, as always, joining us to share your expertise. And with that, you know, right now, there is a lot going on outside that I feel like could be concerns for people's health.
When I see that footage, as well as I notice for myself when I've stepped outside, this is a high risk thing that Oregon has been experiencing more in recent years than ever before.
Yeah, with all of the wildfires that have been going on, all the smoke that's been coming in, and we're really at the beginning of this season when it comes to wildfires too, and we keep seeing more and more of them popping up. You know, what are some of the main things people should be aware of and that they can also do to help mitigate some of the concerns and risks that are out there?
Yeah, thank you for asking and taking the time. This is what I, as a doctor who works in urgent care and the hospital, really wish my patients knew about wildfire season and huge heat waves that we're having. One, I know when someone first walks outside, it can feel like maybe this isn't a big deal and it's okay to be out here for a while. But a big mistake I see people make is going out in the middle of the day when the sun is hottest and when there's a lot of smoky air, especially if they're in a valley where that air is collecting. It's very hard on a person's lungs and heart. And so, one, try to be out early in the morning or at times when the air quality is better and it's not as hot. And two, if you're someone who works outside and can't help it, you have to be outside, then please make sure you're covering your body with loose, long sleeves and pants that protects you from heat more than having uncovered skin. Have a hat at least 4 inches brim, and use a face covering that actually protects you, like an N95 mask.
So so having that loose clothing, protecting you from that
Mhm.
heat, and that hat, obviously, you know, keep you from the sun. But so the mask also, just to block out some of that smoke and those particles that are in the air.
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of people think, well, maybe I'll just wear a bandana or a paper COVID mask. That won't work for wildfire smoke. It will go right through, and that is really toxic to your lungs. So an N95, if you need to be out in bad air for a longer time, is going to be an important protection. Or if you're someone who has an air filter or an air conditioner, making sure your filter is more than level 13 for those.
Interesting. Okay, so double checking your
Mhm.
filter. I didn't even think about something like that, and
Mhm.
making sure that that's filtering out some of that air because, yeah, it is. There is a lot of wildfire smoke in the air right now. This isn't even as bad as it can get when you look at what's going on over in like Bend and some places in Central Oregon. Um, and you mentioned that this can be hard on your heart. That's something I guess I didn't realize. Lungs, obviously, but your heart
Yeah.
also.
Yes, absolutely. So I would think about it like breathing in invisible poison that's really irritating to your blood vessels as well as your air passages. And what can happen if a person's blood vessels get irritated, especially if that happens over years from wildfires getting worse, is that can put you at more risk of having a heart attack or a stroke. And for people who already have that risk and are older or have had that happen before, being very dehydrated and too hot can make that happen in the short term. And we see people come to the emergency room during heat waves and during bad smoke where that's exactly what's going on.
Interesting. Yeah, and talking about seeing some of that, from your end, what you're seeing, what are some other things that you see right now, like at this time of year, but specifically when we start seeing this smoke and extreme heat combo?
Yeah. So, some people especially need to be careful. Very young children or people with asthma, much older adults, pregnant women whose heart and lungs are already working hard to give blood to their body and a pregnancy. For those folks, pretty quickly, if they're breathing irritated, hot, poisonous air, it can make it hard to breathe and make their airways tighten. And sometimes people need to come in for emergency breathing treatments when that happens. And for people with asthma, sometimes that can happen pretty quickly. I have seen patients in urgent care and in the hospital who are doing everything right. They're taking their regular medicines, they're exercising and eating healthy and staying hydrated. And the air just got bad, and it was bad for too many days, and then they can't breathe.
And so, do you recommend wearing a mask for anybody in that situation?
I do. I do. If you're someone with sensitive lungs who has had to go to urgent care or an ER before for your breathing, when you see days where air quality is like this, absolutely. If you're going to be outside and exposed to that, I would invest in an N95, paper mask to protect yourself.
When it comes to the extreme heat, and there's only a certain percentage of people in the Northwest who actually have air conditioning, just because it's not something that we didn't used to think that we needed it that much.
Yeah.
What are some of the risks and concerns there as far as it's staying really warm at night and with all this heat?
Yeah. So, with heat related illness, there are some short term things that can happen and then things that build up over days. Short term, when it's very hot, like 90s, low hundreds, what we see is it's hard to keep up with staying hydrated. And so people start to get really tired or really lightheaded and weak. Sometimes they can feel nauseous or have a headache. Those are early signs to try to get somewhere cool, like a cooling shelter if you don't have air conditioning, or put cool washcloths on yourself and drink some fluids slowly to try to reverse early heat illness. Sometimes, as you know, if someone has been hot for too long and maybe not quite as hot, so it wasn't obvious to them, like 80s, 90s, they've been trying to stay inside and been too warm for days, then you start seeing someone who's confused because they're so dehydrated or too hot. You can see someone who actually has a fever from getting too hot. And those instances are an emergency, and someone really needs to go to the doctor right away if that happens.
So if you see anybody with those signs, yeah, get them to a doctor right away. Any other signs that you can look out for someone?
One unusual one is that with heat exhaustion, occasionally someone will have clammy skin and goosebumps. And so they might not realize it's that they're too hot. So that can be a sign when it's starting to get worse and someone really needs to cool off and has been out in the heat. Another piece of climate and health is that it affects power when it's very hot for a long time and everyone's running their air conditioning who has it. There's a risk of someone having problems with power in their house, like for their refrigerator to store insulin and other medicines, or for breathing machines. So it's really important to have a plan if you need electricity and there's problems with that from heat that's lasting a long time.
So, yeah, interesting stuff to really think about, all this
Yeah.
combo of all of these different things and just what you
Hmm.
should be watching out for. Well,
Yeah.
Doctor, I mean, this is all great information, for everybody. Is there anything else that you think is important that people should know?
Yes, I have how not to cool off safely.
Yeah.
A big mistake a lot of Oregonians and Washingtonians make is when they're really hot and they're out at the river or somewhere else, they think, great, I'll cool down by jumping in one of the streams or rivers or the ocean here. That area of water is so cold, it can be really dangerous to go from very hot to 50-degree water or around that. And even a great swimmer can suddenly have a problem with their heart or lungs and drown. And we do see that happen in the Northwest.
We do, unfortunately, and we've had to report on some of those of people, yeah, jumping into the water and their body seizing up or something like that. What's the safe way to go about cooling off in like a lake, a river, a stream, something like that?
If you're by a lake or a river, just sit down, be somewhere shallow that is waist depth so you can easily scoot out or someone can grab you and you can splash water on yourself if you want to do it that way and don't have some other way to cool and get in the shade. The safest of all would be to pour some water over yourself from a water bottle and blow air at yourself in the shade and let the wind going over you cool you off. That would be a safe way to do it too.
I like that. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so just
Hmm.
fine if you can get a breeze or a fan going,
Right.
does some
Splash
water.
some water on you and get a fan going to blow cooler air over you. That's another way to more safely do it that is not jumping into a river where you can't swim.
All right. Anything else? Or I mean, you've covered quite a bit.
Yeah, no, this is great. I think, as always, please think about your community. There's a lot of older folks who live alone or kids running around the neighborhood. If you see someone who might be in trouble or someone lives on your street by themselves, do a wellness check. Go be part of your community and see how they're doing.
Great idea. Watching out for everybody around you. Yeah, and one other thing you said too, hydrate.
Yes, absolutely. Please stay hydrated. If you don't have a serious heart or kidney problem, try to have something with salt and sugar, like a sports beverage, as well as regular water.
Okay. All right, Doctor. Thank you very much, as always, for
Thank
joining
you.
us, for sharing this very important information for everybody to know.
Absolutely.
And for everybody watching, we are live here. We're going to take a break. We'll continue to cover, of course, what's going on when it comes to the heat and the wildfires. We'll have updates for you on all of that and a lot more. We're here from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. every single weekday, covering a wide range of topics. But we do need to take just a quick break, so stick right with us. Whatever platform you're on, we'll be right back here in just a couple of minutes with more Fox 12 Now.